I'm joined by psychotherapist Lena Derhally. She's also the author of the upcoming book, The Facebook Narcissist. Lena, we keep hearing white supremacists are using social media to recruit people. Boil it down for us if you would. How are they doing that?
Well, there's a lot of different ways they're doing it. And some people know about 4chan, which is more of the dark web, where they're doing a lot of recruiting and grooming that way. But I think what's really important for people to know is that this radicalization is taking place on more of the mainstream platforms that a lot of kids and young tweens and teens are using, like TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And one of the things that they do is they appeal to these kids by sharing memes and humor. And it's not really humorous or funny. They're actually quite offensive, racist, hateful type of things, but they're cloaked in this sort of irony or satire.
You say there are signs of, and I'm going to quote you here, collective narcissism, a type of narcissism that believes their group is superior and should be recognized as such. But I couldn't help but go back to my undergrad degree is in psychology. A hallmark of narcissism is you have a high self-regard, but there's also this really fragile ego, more than the average person. So there are a lot of layers to this.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. I think collective narcissism is a big part of this, and it's really not discussed in the mainstream at all. And a lot of the radicalizing that we're seeing right now is because of collective narcissism and leaders who are capitalizing on this idea of rage and entitlement, which are hallmarks of narcissism. And so that's kind of mobilizing people and riling them up, saying, hey, our group is superior, and we're not being recognized for our superiority. And so the collective narcissism is the narcissism, the entitlement, and the rage around our group being special but not being recognized. And so a lot of people who are savvy, even political leaders and people who are leaders of these white supremacist groups online know about this, and they know the type of language to use that breeds this type of narcissism.
Mm-hmm. Lena, finally, I'd like you to weigh in on this growing debate that I've been reading about online. Progressives say we need to center identity in our culture. We need to repair the past. We need to do better in the future. Others are saying, by emphasizing identity above all else, to say the white, cisgender males, they're the problem, they hold all the power, you actually risk activating, you risk alienating young men and forcing them into bonds where they think, I must be powerful, in order to prove that I am. I am being replaced. Is that a risk that we're focusing on identity too much?
I mean, I think I can see, where both sides are coming from, but I tend to go on the more progressive side myself in this debate, not just because of my profession, but all the research I've done, when we brush things under the rug and we pretend something doesn't exist, it gets worse. So even if we pretend identity is not an issue, it's not going away. And it's not going to solve the problem. But what we do need to do is start talking to kids young, when they're, as parents, as teachers, as people in the community. And we have to talk about identity. We have to talk about race. And the research actually backs that up, is that, when we are not colorblind, as they say, and when we are saying, we are talking about anti-racism, these are the things that promote empathy. And that's what we really need to do. And we need to start it at a young age.
What about, though, that famous 2004 speech from Barack Obama, that there's no white America, black America, Christian America, Muslim America, red or blue America? Do you think that we would benefit from talking more about cohesion?
I mean, I think it's a nice idea to say that, yeah, we're all equal and we're all alike. And there's, but yes, I mean, I think we have to address the differences, and that people do see differences, and again, promote empathy by exposing everybody to different cultures, which is actually a good thing about social media, is getting to see different cultures and getting to absorb ourselves in different cultures and see other people, that they have the same needs and fears and desires. Every human basically has the same needs and desires that are all based in survival and belonging and validation. And so I think if we can really go back to those core needs that make us alike, while also identifying that there are these differences and there is this horrible history in our country and in the world, that needs to be discussed, that slavery and racism and all these things, we can't ignore it either.
Lena Derhally, author of the new book, The Facebook Narcissist, out later this month. Lena, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chance.